Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. Hope you're all doing well out there. Back at you with another video. Now, I just want to throw a little caveat in here, just in case you're wondering why I always seem to be a day late or more after some major event before I make a video. Well, a couple of things. Number one, sometimes I don't hear about the event until the following day, or maybe even later. And number two, sometimes I like to think about these things before I make a comment on them. So that's why I'm only just now getting around to making a video on the latest Jihad of the Sword attack in New York that happened yesterday. Now, it's funny. I'm laughing because the attack was so pathetically carried out. I mean, the guy hurt himself and like 2 or 3 other people, and that was it. He didn't even manage to kill himself. Couldn't even blow himself up properly. And I'm hearing 2 different things regarding ISIS. Number one, that they immediately claimed responsibility for the attack, and then the second thing I'm hearing, which I don't know that either one of these things is true, but that ISIS is denying that he's one of theirs because of just the pathetic way it was carried out. I mean, how embarrassing if you're this, this major terrorist organization and the world fears you to, and some doofus claiming to be, or doing something in your name that's so pathetic and inept and just feckless move. I can imagine ISIS, real ISIS fighters are probably going, oh God, yeah, this guy he was not one of ours. So, yeah, I mean, and thank goodness for that, right? God, now ISIS has announced in the past on multiple occasions that they plan on carrying out attacks in New York City during the Christmas season. Right? Muslims don't like Christmas. Islam doesn't like Christmas. So, if you paid any attention, if you have turned on the TV once or twice within the last decade, you would know that Europe is screwed. It's done. Sweden, especially. By 2050, the experts are saying by 2050. I'm saying by 2030. Most Western European nations are going to, my prediction is that they're going to have Sharia law side by side with their country's laws, which is already happening. Sharia law may even be more predominant and start taking over normal court systems in the UK and other places. Also, that the populations of those countries, once they reach 20% or so, the Muslim population, the country's going to look drastically different. It's not going to look like a Western European country. It's going to look like a Middle Eastern country. These are just facts. So, experts are saying, by 2050, I'm saying, push that 20 years closer. And maybe the 2050 date is the date that the United States has parallel Sharia law courts. It's almost inevitable. It's coming. Just, pay attention to the signs. They're all there. I mean, what do you think mosques are for? They're for advancing the cause of Islam, caching weapons, radicalizing people, and I even hate using that term, radicalizing. No. ISIS does Islam 100% correctly according to the texts of the doctrine of Islam. It's not their interpretations. I suppose you could argue it is their interpretations of those texts, but those texts have been translated accurately from Arabic to English many, countless times. And they all say relatively the same things. You got your Muslims and you got the kuffar. Well, if you're not a Muslim, Islam doesn't like you and plans to either convert you, good luck with that, subjugate you, quite likely, and or kill you. maybe not as likely as subjugation. Most people, when gun to the head, they'll say, okay, yeah, I'll take a knee. I'll play along to get along. It's called survival. It's what people do. So, anyhow, enough of that. Now, in more recent news, God, Trump just can't get off of Twitter. I find it pretty entertaining, but I don't understand how the guy is not worn out from Twitter. How does he not have Twitter fatigue already? Really? Everybody else seems to have Trump fatigue on Twitter. I don't particularly like or dislike the guy. I'm kind of, I don't really care. I'm an anarchist. I'm not a statist. I have no investment in that. But I will say this, it is plenty entertaining, but, the entertaining aspect of it is starting to take a nosedive. It's like, man, come on, Trump, just... But this isn't to rag on Trump, or anybody that supports him, or anybody that opposes him. It just, it is what it is, California, of course, is in a state of without rule of law, as, most of the country is aware by now. You may or may not agree with it, but hey, look, when a 5-time felon, a 7-time deportee who shouldn't have access to a gun in the first place picks one up and kills somebody, kills a United States citizen, and the court system lets him go, then that's a signal that the government is sending, the government of California anyway, is sending to illegal aliens, or to everybody. The signal says loud and clear in big, huge neon sign. You might as well just plaster it across the entire sky in California. Illegals, it's open season on United States citizens. Open season. Kill as many of us as you want, and nobody's going to do a darn thing about it. Citizens, you can't protect yourselves. You're going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and maybe even extrajudicially prosecuted if we can get away with it, for you speaking out against our policies, having items we don't want you to have, having the wrong opinion, and, God forbid, wanting to own your own property and protect it. So, yeah, it's a pretty interesting dynamic. Now, the Kate Steinle vigil was naturally vandalized, protested, interrupted, and the entire message behind the vigil completely lost to begin with. So out here in California, you've just got these crazy liberals. I'm not kidding you. They're absolutely insane. It's like they took one too many hits of acid, or maybe they even licked the bowl, and they just went off the deep end. They're never coming back. Never coming back. It's like they want a state of anarchy, but what they really want is a government that does everything for their benefit at your expense, right? It's like having their own private... They want the government to be their own private little club that's for them and against everybody else. And, yeah, sad to say, that's kind of how it is. It's kind of working. It's one of those self-fulfilling prophecy situations. I can remember seeing I remember seeing an interview with Morgan Freeman before he lost his wits as well. And he was asked about the question of racism and how to solve it. And his response was right on point and very simple. Stop talking about it. Go do something else. Focus on something else. Well, you know what? This is why Trump got elected. Because people that look like me have been told our entire lives that we're privileged, we're inherently biased, we have this unconscious bias, in us. In other words, we're evil. We're the beneficiaries of the evil white male patriarchy, right? And which includes slavery, as if the patriarchy is some sort of elite, exclusive, white, straight male-only club. You know, I mean, when I grew up, the idea of a patriarch or a patriarchy was a social hierarchical structure that protected the family, right? Protected and preserved the interests and property and value system of the family unit. The connotations that came with the word patriarch was a kindly old wise man, a male, like the head of the household, you know, perhaps a little bit of a dotard, but well-meaning, and you know, has someone who has little nuggets of wisdom that they can share, life experience that they can share and apply to help their kids grow into responsible, you know, well-adjusted adults. That's what, in my mind, the patriarchy was before I turned like 6 or 7. And then all of a sudden, it just flipped and turned on its head. And all of a sudden, it was the source of all evil, and it was, you know, yeah, you know the story. You know the score. If you're a white, straight male in California, you know the score. You know where I'm coming from. And so it's people that look like me that have similar values to mine and yours that just got sick of it. And since Trump represented something that was going to push back against that, well, I mean, how could you not have seen, well, yeah, because I was saying the presidency was going to be handed to Hillary, but Trump won. And it was so easily predictable. I was so pessimistic, of course, that I thought, you know, it doesn't matter. And ultimately, I don't think it does. I don't think the society moves in a direction according to the administration that runs it. I think it moves in the direction according to the teachings and the value systems that come out of our public education system, out of the universities, out of these supposed centers for higher learning. Well, centers for higher learning, my ass, they're indoctrinating people with Marxism. And then now you got communist Antifa, you know, waving communist flags, praising the likes of Che Guevara. Unbelievable. So yeah, that's the world we live in today. Is it any surprise? And then I'm listening to the radio earlier today as I was riding around town doing errands, and there's this one show I like, one talk show I like to listen to. God, I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, so he's talking about all these allegations of sexual misconduct levied against all these different guys. You know, Moore, Weinstein, you know, all these different male political figures, of course, but we all know it actually affects people that aren't in the spotlight a lot more. And he flat out says, the host of the radio show that I was listening to, flat out said, God, I can't even remember, I can't quote him, but he basically said, men are afraid to work with women these days. They don't want to work with women, and he says he's hearing more and more men say, yeah, I don't want to work with women. Now, you know what? I think he's absolutely right. You know why? I myself haven't wanted to work with women for the last decade, right? It's a risky business. I mean, I've had a rape accusation leveled at me that nearly got me killed. Forget about losing my job or my livelihood. What about my life? You know, what about these men's lives? Don't you, I mean, the liberal left, the insanity of the liberal left has this mentality that says, basically, you can't have a lethal weapon, but we get to do something that would most likely prompt other men with lethal weapons who have a serious proclivity to violence to come after you if we say that you've done something so perverse and disgusting that it triggers them. You know? So They basically hold straight men hostage at the point of a gun with these sexual allegations in a sense, because they know full well that there are some crazy loonies out there that will go and hunt down people that they think have committed these acts, right? That was my case. That was my case. The accusation that was leveled against me prompted some men with a very serious proclivity to violence to come and hunt me down and kill me, right? Obviously, they found out that, my accuser lied. And I suspect that in the vast majority of these cases, these women are lying. These women are lying. And another thing, do you ever notice that they never go after nobodies like me with no money? It's always some rich white guy they go after, right? So, scratching my head over here and thinking, these cases that are in the media, they're probably not about vindictiveness or just sticking it to the man or anything else. It's about money. It's about opportunity. It's a crime of opportunity. I would equate leveling an accusation like that against an innocent man as a serious crime of opportunity, right? One which should come with a lifelong prison sentence, in my opinion. But hey, that's just not the world we live in. Is it? California burning on such a lovely day. Hope you're all doing well. Peace out, everybody.